All right. Well, I am looking at another Sudoku again today. Big surprise, I know. This one is more standard rules, though. This is by Joseph Name, something like that, and it's called Inception. So I actually was kind of looking through Joseph's Logic Masters page, and I saw there was one called Inception, and I'm a big fan of the movie Inception, so I just had to do the puzzle. Um, and the rules are pretty standard. We just have normal Sudoku rules, normal diagonal rules, so you can't repeat a digit on the the drawn diagonals here, and then normal killer rules. So the digits within the cages sum to the number in the corner, and then we just have these two clones here. The blue cells are clones, and that's it for the rules. This puzzle does have 4 stars for difficulty. It's the rating on Logic Masters. It has a 96% for quality though, so it should be a fun puzzle. And it's been solved 43 times, so 4 stars is a little difficult, but 43 solves is a good number on there in my experience. So you know, it might be a low 4. I guess we'll find out. I'm not really sure. So I think that's all the rules. I actually noticed the layout of the killer cages on this puzzle is interesting. I'm pretty sure I've made a puzzle before that kind of had it was an X puzzle and it had these cages like this. Um, the other cages I think are different. I didn't have any clones, and it's not like it's a copy of my puzzle or anything. I just noticed this and thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I've done a similar kind of pattern before. But it was a long time ago. I'll have to go dig that out. If I can find that puzzle, I will include a link in the description below to mine as well if you want to check it out. But I am going to do Inception now by Joseph Name, um, by Joseph. And you can give it a try yourself. Link in the description as usual. And I'm going to give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. Let's reset our timer. All right, so I do have a slight, well, I guess I'm assuming it works kind of the same way. I do have a little bit of an advantage in having done a similar type of pattern before here. If it works the same, then I do have an idea how to start this. So the main thing with these cages, by having them, essentially in boxes 1, 3, 7, and 9, every cell is either on the diagonal or in a cage. Right? And so what we might be able to do is figure out, so since a box is 45 total, right? 1 through 9 is 45. We know this is 12, this is 16. Together they are 28. 45 minus 28 is 17. So these three have to be 17. Okay, 17 is not very helpful. 21. So these are 35. So these three here are 10. That's a little bit better. What about down here? 32. So these are 13. 13. And these are 25. So these three are 21. So none of those are like obvious, oh, you have to stick these digits in kind of things. But maybe we can do, okay, what was this one? This one was 10, and this one was 13. So that's 23. Because remember, the diagonal is also all the digits 1 to 9. So we said 10 and 13, so it's 23, which leaves 22 in the middle. And I think 22, there's only one way to make 22, isn't there? Well, or is there 2 ways? 987 is the most you can do in 3 cells, which is 24. So you could do 985 or 967. But there's definitely a 9 and 22. Let me make sure I did the math right. 32 leaves 13 here. 35 leaves 10 here. 10 and 13 is 23. 45 minus 23 is 22. Okay, so that one's, it's got a 9 in it. It's 9, and it's 9, 8, 5, or 6, 7. Okay. The other way, 28 is the cages. So we have 17 in there. This one is 25, so you have 20. So 17 and 20 is 37, which means this is 8. Okay, so this has to be a 5 with a 1 and a 2. Because the only way to make 8 and 3 cells using a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 is 1, 2, 5. So these are not 5. And in fact, they are 9 and 8 because to make 22, we need to do 5, 8, 9. Okay, now, what does that do for us? Let's see. Do we want to look at... Which one do we want to think about? This was... I got to remember all these totals now. This was 13, and that one was 10, I think. So let's do 10. 10 without a 5. Or an 8 or a 9. There's going to be... Do you have to have a 1 is the first question. I think you do, because if you don't have a 1, the minimum is 2, 3, 4, which is 9. But we can't use a 5. And so 2, 3, 5 you can't do. So if it's not 2, 3, 4, which is 9, then you have 2, 3, 6. What about 2? Yeah, 2, 3, 6 is 11. And if you increase, yeah, so you need to have a 1 up here. And then it's going to have to be, so it's 10 total, so we need a 1, and then two things that sum to 10. Can't be 1, 9, can't be 2, 8, so it'd be 3, 7, or 4, 6. So it's 1, 3, 7, or 1, 4, 6 there. And then down here you're going to have 2. What did we say this one was? 32. This is 13. So 2. And then you need 11, which can't be 9 and 2. It can't be 8 and 3. It can't be 5 and 6. It has to be 4, 7. So it has to be 2, 4, 7. Oh. Oh. Ha. No, I did that wrong. Hold on. Go back. Go back. This is not 1, 3, 7 or 1, 4, 6. It's 10 total. So after you do the 1, it's 9 total, which could be 2, 7 or 3, 6. Can't be 4, 5. It can't be 1, 8. So it's 2, 7 or 3, 6. So 1, 2, 7 or 3, 6. So there's not necessarily a 2 down here. There is definitely a 4 down here, though, which makes more sense. Okay, that's what I was expecting is if you have two options up here, like 2, 7, 3, 6, this one down here is going to be, the other number that we're not using, the 4, and then either 2, 7 or 3, 6, which makes more sense. So this one definitely has a 4, and 4 plus 9 is 13. Okay, there we go. Helps if you can do math right. All right, let's look at the other diagonal. This one was 17, and this one was 20. So 20... So there's going to be a few options there, I would think. Because you've got 9, 8, 3, for example, 9, 7, 4. Does it have to have a 9? If it doesn't have a 9, 8, 7, 5 you can't do, right? 8, 6 would require another 6. 8, 4. Yeah, I don't think you can do it without a 9. So we've got to have a 9 down here. And then it's 20, so 9. So then we need something that adds up to 11. We can't use 9, 2. It could be 8, 3 or 4, 7. It can't be 5, 6. So then we're going to have the same thing up here, aren't we? We're going to have 8, 3 or 4, 7 with 6, which is going to give us 17. Okay. All right, so now we need to look at the 3 cell cages, I think. Okay, we know there's a 4. Which one do we want to look at? All right, let's just start down here. We know there's no 4. Well, 21 is a little bit limited anyways, right? Can we put a 1? No. There we go. So we can't put a 1 in the 21 cage, because if you put a 1 in here, then you've got 2 cells adding up to 20, which is impossible. And we know the 1 isn't on the diagonal, so the 1 is in the 11 cage. Now it has to go with... Now this one is 11, unlike this one up here that I was trying to make 11. This one is 11, so it's 1 plus 2 cells that add up to 10, which could be 2, 8, or 3, 7. We can't do 4, 6, because the 4 is in here. 2, 8, or 3, 7. Ah, and so, right. Okay, so this is a 1. It has to have then 2, 8, or 3, 7. Can't have 1, 9. It can't have 4, 6. But in here, we've got a 4 with a 2, 7, or a 3, 6. If we put 4, 2, 7 in here, then you've taken the 2 from the 2, 8 and the 7 from the 3, 7. There would be no options in the 11 cage. This has to be 3, 4, 6, which means this one is 1, 2, 7. And now this can't be 3, 7, so it's 1, 2, 8, leaving us with 9, 7, and 5, which hopefully adds up to 21, and it does. Perfect. Okay, good. So I guess let's look up here now, because we know there's no 1, 2, or 7. So we've got another 21 cage. It can't be 5, 7, 9 this time, obviously, because of the 7s in here. So 9, 8, 6 is our maximum, which is 23. So we could do 9, 8, 4. Let's see, do you have to have a 9? 8, 6, 4 would be your maximums if you, or 8, 6, 5, sorry, would be your maximums if you didn't have a 9. And that is only 19. So you have to have the 9. Now, if we didn't have the 8, you'd have 9, 6, 5 as your maximums, which would be 20. Right? Yeah. So we have to have a 9, we have to have an 8, that's 17. The other one obviously has to be a 4 then. And so then these are 3, 5, and 6, which adds up to 14. Perfect. Now, all right, let's see if we can do the same thing with the other diagonal. Let's look at this one up here, I guess. All right, so we can't have a 6. Actually, do I want to look at this one down here? I'm going to look at this one down here first. So we already can't have a 9. So no, I'm going to look up here. I lied. Okay. All right. Where does the 9 go? The 9 cannot go on the diagonal. And I'm looking at the 9 instead of the 1 or the 2, because I could do that as well. But I'm looking at the 9 because these are smaller cages, so the 9's probably going to be more limited. You could put the 9 in the 12 cage, though, couldn't you? If it was 9, 1, and 2. If it was 9, 1, 2, you could put the... Now, if it was 9, 1, 2, this would be... Actually, no, let's look at the 5. The 5 is what to look at. Okay, if we put a 5 in the 12 cage, we need 7 more. We can't do 1, 6, because the 6 is in the diagonal here. We can't do 2, 5, because we already have a 5 in the cage. We can't put another 5. And if you do 3, 4, in here you need 3, 8, or 4, 7. And you'd be taking the 3 from the 3, 8 and the 4 from the 4, 7. You would have no options there. The 5 cannot be in the 12 cage. The 5 is in the 16 cage, which leaves 11. Okay, which is going to be, right, because we've got 3, 8, or 4, 7 in here. So you're going to have 5 with 3, 8, 4, 7, or 2, 9. But you can't put a 1 in there. So the 1 is over here with also 2, 9, 3, 8, or 4, 7. So one of the 16 or the 12 has to have the 2, 9 in it. Okay. Well, okay, that one's not very helpful then. Let's look down here. So no 9. So we've got 1 and 2 to put somewhere, right? We could do 1, 2, 8, 1. Can you put 1 in here? You'd have 13 more, which couldn't be 9, 4. It'd have to be 8, 5, or 6, 7. It seems reasonable that you could do 1, 8, 5, or 1, 6, 7. Because you'd only be taking the 8 or the 7 from the 3, 8 or the 4, 7. So that would work. Okay, so the 1 could be in here. If the 1 is in here, you've got 10 more, which I'm surely is going to have some options. Yeah, you couldn't do 3, 7, but you could do 2, 8 or 4, 6. Okay. The 2, the 5, and the 6. Okay, can we do anything with the 5 or the 6? If we put 5 here, we need 9, but 9's got a lot of options. If you put the 6 over here, yeah, you could still do 1, 4, or 2, 3 though, because you can use the 4 or the 3. If you put the 5 in here, you need 6. It couldn't be 1, 5, but you could do 2, 4. 6 in here leaves 8. Okay. I feel like, I don't know. Maybe it's limited more than I'm seeing, but I'm not able to see the options there. Okay. So what else should we look at? Maybe we need to look at these other cages here. 14 and 4. Well, you can't put... Right, so the minimum you can do in 3 cells is 6, right? 1, 2, and 3. And so the maximum we can put in the 4th cell is then an 8. So we can't put a 9 in here. Which means, right, so there's no 9 here. There's no 9 in this cage. And we know we can't put a 9 in here because there's 9 over here. So this one is actually a 9 right there. Which means these are not 9, and this is a 9. Okay. That's interesting. Then what do we do with it, though? So there's a 9 over here, but maybe this 4, 8 is going to help us, the 4, 8 pair. But 18 in 4 cells just has tons of options. There's lots of things you can do, because, I mean, 18 divided by 4 is 4.5. So you have to average 4.5 on your 4 cells in here, and that's right in the middle. So that means you could put a lot of things in here. And the 4, 8, and 9 is a little bit of a restriction. Well, you can't put a 9 in here at all, but you can still put a 4 or an 8 if you put it right there. You can't put both 4 and 8, and you can't put a 9. Is that helpful? I'm not sure that it is, actually. Okay, so you can put an 8 in here, though. So we can't quite do the same. That's not as helpful. Maybe we can... Oh, we can do the same thing up here. The same thing, but the opposite up here. So the 26, you can't put in a 1. Because, again, the maximum you can do with 3 cells is 9, 8, and 7, which is 24. So if you put a 1 in here, the max you can do is 25. So we can't put a 1 in that cage. There's no 1 here, no 1 here. Can't have 1s there. This is a 1. And that's a 2, 7 pair. And so now we can't put a 1, 4, 8, or 9 in here. So these are 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna write those in for now. I might delete these if it's not helpful. I might delete these because it'll make it more crowded. But I just want to kind of see, because we have to choose 3 out of this thing. So the max we could do is actually 18 in 3. So we can't do 5, 6, and 7. If you did 6, 7, and 3, then you'd have a 2. 6, 7, and 2, you'd have a 3. 753. You can't do 753. 752 would have 4. Yeah, there's a few options there. Now down here, we're much more limited, I think. So if we put a 7 in here, it'd have to be 1 and 3. You'd have to have a 1 there. If you put a 7. If you put a 6, you could do 1, 4. No, you can't do 1, 4, actually. 6 would have to be 2, 3. The reason you can't do a 1, 4 is the 1 and the 4 are ruled out of both of these, and you can't put the 1 and the 4 both in that cell. But you could do 6, 2, 3. 5, 2, 4. Yeah. All right, I think there's too many options there still, so I'm going to delete those for now. Okay, we know there can't be a 1 in here. Okay, so the 1 has to be in one of these two over here, because it's the same kind of thing with the 26 gauge. We can't put the 1 in here. So that one can't be a 1. So there's a 1 there. It's a 5 up there. Ah, the 5 here, and there's a 5 in that cage. So we have both 5s in rows 1 and 2. So there has to be a 5 in one of these. Can't be in the middle because of that 5. Now, if it's on the clone, we'd have to have a 5 there. But I think... Yeah. I don't see why we couldn't do that. It would force a 5 in there, and you'd have a 5 down here. But I think we can put a 5 in here, because with... You'd have 9 more, which has a lot of options. 1, 8, 2, 7, 3, 6. Okay, so... All right, let's think about the 26 cages again. We've got 2 of them. One at the top, one on the left. Does 26 have to have 9? I guess that's a question, right? 8, 7, 6, 5 is 26. So if you didn't have a 9, it would have to use 8, 7, 6, 5. And if you had 8, 7, 6, 5 in here, now we've got 5 and 7 in columns 1 and 2 already, which would force 5 and 7 up there. But that's possible because we've got the 5s up there. So if we don't have a 9, it's 8, 7, 6, 5. But we don't have to have a 9. If we knew we had to have a 9, then we could force a 9 up there, which would be awesome. But let's see, 9 and 5, you'd then have a 2. Yep, that could work. Okay, what about up here? We know there's not a 9 in there. This could still be 9 though. 9, 1, 2. I'll force a 9 there, and it would force the 8, 7, 6, 5, but yeah, okay. All right, so I don't see anything with 9 up here either. In fact, there's a good chance there's a 9 in there, unless it's in one of these two. Okay, so let's look. Maybe the 14. Maybe we could do the opposite with the 14. So do we have to have a 1? If you don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 14. Ah, it's the same thing. Joseph, you're too clever with your cage totals. All right. It almost works, but not quite. So if we don't have a 1 in here, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'd have 2s in there. You'd have a 2 up there. Okay, so you don't have to have a 1, but it would be the minimums if you didn't have a 1, is essentially what we're saying. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10. So you've got 4 degrees of freedom, right? So you can't have a 9. Yeah. Okay. Now here's something. Do we have to have a 1 or a 2? I think we do, right? Because if you don't have a 1, it's the minimums. You have to have a 2. And there's a 1 and a 2 in here. So we definitely have a 1 or a 2 in here. Which means there's a 1 or a 2 up here. That's not really helpful, is it? We already could, yeah. We already knew you had to have a 1 or a 2 up here, because if you put the 1 and the 2 in the 14 cage, it would be 1, 2, 11. So there has to be a 1 or a 2. So this is either going to be 1, and you could put 1 and 2 up here, couldn't you? If you had 1 and 2, it would be 1, 2, 8. Same as this one. The 1 would be there. Oh, you can't do 1, 2, 8. You can't do 1, 2, 8 because the 1 would have to be here because of that one. And then you'd have 2 and 8 here, but you can't because of the 8. So you can't put 1 and 2 up here. You're going to have 1 or 2 in here, which means you're going to have a 1 or a 2 in here. And what does that tell us? All right. If you have 1, it has to be 5, 8, or 6, 7 with it. If you have 2, you need 12, which can't be 9, 3. It can't be 8, 4, because remember, you need 8, 3, 8, or 4, 7 in the middle. It could be 7, 5. Yeah, it would have to be 2, 7, 5. Which means what? I'm not sure what that tells us. All right, I'm gonna write these options in here for a minute. So these are the 3 options. These aren't like the action. I'm using center notation, which normally means these are the options for that cell. Right now, I just want to write my 3 possibilities in here. So we know there's a 1 or a 2 in the 14 cage. If it's a 1, it would have to be 1, 5, 8 or 1, 6, 7. If it's a 2, it would have to be 2, 5, 7. Okay, if it's 1, 5, 8, you've got 4, 7 in the middle, which would leave 2, 3, 6. If it's 1, 6, 7, you're going to have 3, 8 in the middle, which would leave 2, 4, 5. And if it's 2, 5, 7, you're going to have 3, 8 in the middle, and you're going to have 1, 4, 6. But you can't do 1, 4, 6 because 1 and 4 are already gone from here, and you can't put 1 and 4. So it can't be 1, 4, 6, which means this can't be 2, 5, 7. There is a 1 in the 14 cage and a 2 in the 12 cage. And it's these 2 go together and these 2 go together as options. But that tells us, right, that tells us we have 1s in both of these. There's not a 1 in this 14 cage because we've already got our 2 1s in row 8 and row 9. The 1 is up here. And it can't be in here because if the clones, if these were both 1s, these would both be 2s. So it's one of those. But not having a 1 in the 14 cage means we have to use the minimums as 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we've got 2s in row 8 and row 9. So this is not a 2. So our 2 is at the top. And then what else can we do? So we know there's a 2 up there. 3. The 3 is definitely in the... Actually, the 3 and the 4 are both in row 7 and 8 in this box. They're either in here or in here. The 3 and the 4, but the 3 and the 4 are down here, so... And they could be... That's less helpful. 1, 2, One there, one here. So the one could be almost anywhere in there. Fives. Hmm. Okay, can we do... Yeah, we don't know. It's less helpful up here. The 1 and the 2 could be in the same cage if they were in this cage. Actually, if this was 1 and 2, if it was 1, 2, it would have to be 1, 2, 9. You'd have 9 there, 1 there, 2 there. This would be 7. You'd have the 2 down here and the 2 there. It would force a 2 up there, which would make that 2, 7, 8, 9. But I think that works, actually. I don't see why that wouldn't work at this point, anyways. So we could put the 1 and the 2 together. Let's see, if this one was 2, 9. If this was 5, 2, 9, what would that mean? Would that tell us anything? Actually, that's interesting. Okay, so, right. If we put the 2 here, it forces a 2 up here, which makes this 2, 7, 8, 9. Because if you take 2 away from 26, you have 24. The minimum you can do in 3 cells, or I mean, the maximum you can do in 3 cells is 7, 8, 9, which is 24. So if you put a 2 here, forces a 2 up here, makes this 2, 7, 8, 9. If you put the 2 here, now you've got 2's in columns 2 and 3, forcing a 2 in here, making it 2, 7, 8, 9. So one of these 26 cages is going to be 2, 7, 8, 9. Now what that tells me, I don't know. But I know it's true. What does that mean? It's got to mean something. And in fact, I think, does it mean that only one of them could be 2, 7, 8, 9 at most? I don't think that's true. I think they could potentially both be, but it's too. All right, I'm gonna go back down here before I forget that I changed the. I was using a different center marking strategy. I'm gonna put those back in so that I don't forget that. This one can't be 2. There's 5's in here, 5's down here. No, not necessarily. There could be 5 in there. It's 5's almost in. There's 5's down here though. 2, 3. Oh, but these can't be 5's. So the 5 is in row 9 here. So these are not 5's. And this has to be 5, 8, or 6, 7. So this one can't be 8 because you'd have to have a 5 down there. The 4, 8 here means these can't be 4. And same kind of thing. If these can't be 4, this one can't be 5. So the 4 is in there somewhere. Okay. So this is either 2, 5 or 3, 6 right here. Because if it's 2, 4, 5, the 4 is over there. If it's 2, 3, 6, no, then the 2 could be, yeah. So this could be 2, 3, 2, 6. This could be a lot of things, actually. I was just thinking if we knew what these were. 2, 3, 5. Oh, well, there's a 7 in here, actually. We have a 7 in the 18 cage because there's no 7 down here, no 7 up there. The 7's are right there. So that leaves 11. Okay, so can we put a 6 in here? If we have 7, 6, we'd have to have 2 and 3. think you could do 6, 7, 2, 3, couldn't you? If you had a 5, 7 and 5, you'd have to have 6, you'd have to have 1. 7 and 5 would have to be 2, 4. 2, 4, 7. If this was 7 and 5, 2, these would be 3, 6. You have 2 there, 4, 2. Yeah. I think that works. But we do know there's a 7 in there. It has to be 7 with... Can't be 6, 5. Okay, so it can't... We can't... but we could put a 6 or a 5. Right, okay, yeah. Yeah, so we can't put 5, 6, 7 here. Right? Because that's already 18 without including that cell. We also can't put 5 and 6 down here because you'd have 11 already without including that cell. So there's a 5 or a 6 up here and a 5 or a 6 down here. And so that means this one can't be a 6. Because if that was a 6, these would have to be 2, 3, and then you'd have 5, 6, 7 there. So there's a 5 or a 6 down here. And there's a 5 or a 6. So this is either 12 or 13. If it's 13, you need 5 more, which has to be 2, 3. Because you can't do 1 and 4 for previously stated reasons. So it'd have to be 7, 6 with a 2 and a 3. Or 7, 5, you would need 6. You have to be 7, 5. You couldn't do then 1, 5 because you'd be repeating a 5. So it'd have to be 2, 4. And the 4 would have to be over here. So this is a 2, 3, or a 4. And this one can't be a 5. Right, because if it's 2, 4, 5, the 4 is there, which puts the 2 there. So this one can't be a 5. So the 5 is in this row in box 9. It's in row 9 in box 8. This is not a 5. There's a 5 up there. So now what do we do? I know there's a 9 over there. Feel like we're getting close over here. There's not too many options, but we still have too many options. We don't quite have it all narrowed down yet. This can be 3, 6, or 4, 5. If it's 3, 6, that's 4, 7. Yeah, so... And this is 5, 8, or 6, 7. Okay. All right, should we look back up here at these 26 cages? There's no 9 here, so there's a 9 up there. This has to have something that sums to 11. If this was 3, 8, you would have 8s in there. Seems possible. If this was 2, 9, you'd have 2 in there, like we talked about before. And if this is 2, 7, 8, 9, you'd have 2, 5. You'd have a 2, 5, 7, 8, 9 quintuple there. I think that would be okay. This is 4, 7. We don't know much. 2, 9, 3, 8. If it's 3, 8, you're gonna have a 3 down here. But that doesn't tell us much, does it? Okay, so where do we need to look next? Where do we need to look next? We've already used the diagonals. It's something with the killer cages. It's got to be. 2, 3, 6, 2, 4, 5. This is 2, 4, 5. Puts a 4 out there. So, All right. Well, we know this is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually. So this is 6, 7, 8, or 9 because of the cage in here. So this is 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, it can't be a 9 because there's a 9 seeing that blue cell. So it's 6, 7, or 8. So this is 6, 7, or 8, which means it is not a 5. So the 5 is there, which gives us the 5 down here. Okay, good. A little bit of progress. These are 6, 7, 8, or 9 here, actually. Because we only have 1, 6, 7, 8, and 9 not in the cage, and these can't be 1. 6, 7, 8, or 9. We're kind of getting some things matching up here. Now, 6, 7, or 8 in here, so this could still be 2, 7, 8, 9, couldn't it? That would force a 6 into the blue. Yeah, it could still have the 2, 7, 8, 9, I think. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where to look now. We know that we're forcing 2, 7, 8, 9 in one of these 26 cages. But I don't know what that's going to do. 7. You'd have 2 and 9. 2 would be up there. Okay, let's see. So 2s. This is definitely a tricky puzzle. It's just finding the right place to look, the right combinations of things. Probably some bad scanning somewhere too, most likely. That's pretty typical for me. Uh, in row 9, where can you put a 7? Oh, that's it. That does it. That does it. Okay. Right. We can't put a 7 in the 14 cage. We can't put a 7 down here. There's a 7 right here. So this has to be 1, 6, 7. And that's gonna give us a lot. So this is not 3, 6 then, so that's 2, 4, 5. These are not 4, 7, they're 3, 8, which means these are not 3, 8. That's what we needed. That is gonna be hugely helpful. Now we have 3, 6, 7 in here, which is 16, gives us a 2 there, 7, 2. 2, 4, 7. This is not 7. Okay. So we've got 7 and 9. This is not 7. And now that this is 6, 4, 7, we have 3, 8, and 2, 9 to put in these. And now that we have the 2 and the 9 here, you can't do 1, 2, 9 because you'd have to have the 1 in both of these. So this can't be the 1. The 2 can't be in there. The 2 has to be up here. So this is 2, 5, and 9. Ooh, 9, which gives us 1, 3, 8. This one's not a 1. And that tells us what? So we've got 8 here. So there's definitely an 8 right up here. 8. Okay, well, we know the 2 here and the 2 there, put a 2 in this one, which makes it 2, 7, 8, and 9. And now we have a 2, 5, 7, 8, 9 quintuple, I guess. The 2 is not in there. The 8 is not in there. So this can't be 8. So that's an 8. We got 1, 3. 8 gives us the 4 and the 8 over here. This is not 4. This is not 7. So 1, 3, 1, 3. That gives us a 4, 6 pair. This one's not 4. It's the 4 over here. 7, 9, 5, 7, 9, 2, 8. Okay. So we've got the 2, 7, 8, 9, 8, 8. This one's not 8 because the 8 up above. Okay, well these can't be 2, 4, 7, or 9 because of the column, but they can't be 3 and 6 either. So 1, 5, 8, I think, is what those can be. 8. Where do we look next? Oh, this one can't be a 2 because the 2 over here. Okay, we need to figure out this one. So we've got 8. We need... and where can we put a 7? Oh, we've got a 4, 6 pair right here. This is a 7. But we know there's a 7 up here. So this is 7 and 8. That's 15. We need 11 more. It can't be 8, 3, or 4, 7, or 5, 6, because the 5, the 7, and the 8 are in here. So it has to be 9, 2. So they are 2, 7, 8, 9, actually. They both are 2, 7, 8, 9. That's interesting. Okay. And again, we've got a 2, 5, 7, 8, 9 quintuple. So these are not 5. That gives us a 3, 6 pair. Puts a 5 there. Puts a 4 over here. Gives us the 6. That 4 above is going to give us 6 down here. This is not 6. The 6, 3, 4. That 3 is going to give us the 8 and the 3. That 3 is going to give us the 6 and the 3 at the top. And I think we're finally getting somewhere here. All right, this is not 7 or 8 because of these, so it's a 6. We can translate that over because of the clone. So these are not 6. We have a 7, 8, and 9 triple here, so this is not 8. That's not 7. The 3 and the 4 here give us the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the 8. It's not a 2 up there. That 1 gives us the 6 and the 1 and the 7. These are not 1s now. So what do we have left here? 1, 4, and 9. And we have 8s here and here, right? So in box 6, the 8 has to be in one of those. In box 5, the 8 has to be in one of these. Either way, we've got both of our 8s in rows 4 and 6 because they're going to have to be, in opposite ends. So the 8 in box 4 must be in row 5, which has to be there. So these are not 8s. Okay, we've got a 2, 7, 9 triple, so our 5 is there. 7, 9 pair gives us the 5 at the top. And now we've got 2, 9 pairs. So these are 4, 5, and 6. That one's not 5. These are 1 and 3. And so the same thing. We've got 1s in rows 4 and 6 in these two boxes. So the 1 in this box has to be in there. And now this is great. We've got the 9s here. Same exact thing. The 9s, put a 9 in the middle. Can we do that with... Oh, we've already got the 2 in the middle. Okay, I was going to say, can we do it with 2s? Because we've already done it with 1s, 8s, and 9s, but we already got the 2 in the middle anyways. I was excited there for a second. The 9 gives us the order of the 7 and the 9. These are not 9s now, which means this is a 1, 9 pair. Eights here, same thing, other direction. Eights in columns 4 and 6. Puts an 8 in column 5 up there. And oh, we can't do it with 9s though, or 1s. That's disappointing. Okay. Oh, the 2 here is looking right at the 9. 2-7 pair gives us the 9 and the 2 there. 9 jumps back down to give us the 1 and the 9. Oh, and the 9 gives us the 8 and the 9 and the 4 and the 9, and the 8 here gives us the 5 and the 8, and this is not 5. The 8 is going to give us also the 7 and the 8, which then the 7 gives us the 2 and the 7. That 2 gives us the 1. This is a fun way to end a puzzle here. The 1 gives us the 3 and the 1. Lots of pairs that all get resolved like a big chain of dominoes. This is a 1 or a 3. It has to be a 3 because of the 1. 1, 3. These are 1 and 4, and the 1 tells us the order. This is not 2. It could be 3 or 4 though, couldn't it? 3 or 4. This is not 3 or 2. So 4, 3, 4, 6, 4, 5, 6. I'm not keeping up with all my pencil markings, but things are just going too fast now. This is not a 7. This is a 3 or a 6, and it can't be a 3 because the 3 up above. 6, 3, 7, 6, 3, and 7. And we're done. All right, that was Inception by Joseph Name. That was a very cool puzzle, Joseph. It did kind of feel, I don't know if you called it Inception because of the movie. That's immediately where my brain goes. But it actually kind of, in some ways, felt like that, like the movie, because we kind of had these, it was like we were going down in levels, right? We started with the diagonals, and then we had to look at these, and then we looked at these other ones. And then, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but at the end, we kind of had this like flurry of coming back out of all of the levels and just resolving everything at the end really quickly, with the, like the kick, right?
In the kick. What? Duncan.
Very cool. I enjoyed that puzzle a lot. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you thought. And I'll see you again soon with another puzzle. Thanks.